behind the ball, as you said, Shuri.
And that is Daniel Pearce, I'm pretty sure about that.
So Steve McBurney gets us underway. Indigenous round continues. Mundy. Eventually Sandilands tried to paddle it towards Pearce. A good tackle on Corns. Fife, what a player he's turning out to be. So Steve McBurney along with Matthew Leppard and Stuart Wen, the umpires this afternoon. Warm conditions here at Amy Stadium, but rain is expected. Brogan and Sandilands, that's an important duel. Loose ball. At the top was Duffield.
And behind the ball, they've got Troy Chaplin already as a loose player, but mainly because Fremantle have pushed players up the ground in behind the ball. They want to keep their forward line as open as possible. They've got a smallish forward line with the exception of Kepler Bradley. They want it to be a running affair.
Johnson was involved, but Pearce will get his first possession. High ball. Hangs in the air a long time. Pavlich waited.
And you can see there Matthew Pavlich. He looks like he's going to have the company of Matt Thomas for the afternoon. And I think they will expose Matt Thomas by pushing him forward. He hasn't gone forward much in recent times, Matthew Pavlich. Sure, very much at all this season. But today, I think with the absence of Adam McPhee, I think we will see that happen a little bit.
Sandilands and Brogan again. Corns desperate. Shut down by Mundy. Quick kick. Off the boot of Hartlett. We might see a bit of this afternoon, Jared, with the ball going out of bounds because of the blustery conditions.
Yeah, and I think that the players and the coaches of the side kicking into the wind will be very keen to see it out of bounds. And that kick from Hamish Hartley was just a gift.
Big fly from Fife, couldn't take it. Busy start for Kane Corns. His brother's not playing at the moment. Had a bit to say during the week. De Boer got it moving forward to lower. Opens it up. Goes to Pavlich. Got rid of Thomas. Squirts the kick over the top. I'm not sure if that was a pass. Doesn't matter. It's a goal.
Well, he did it pretty easily, Matthew Pavlich, whether it was a shot at goal or a pass. I'm actually a bit with you, Swatter. I'm not completely sure which way it was, but he kept it low. The talent of Fife, again on display. Didn't grab that one, but a nice little clearance there. Getting the ball out into space, and that's going to be the key for Fremantle with this win, not to waste it.
Well, Matty Thomas, really, Pavlich just split away from Matty Thomas. I think he had to stay there and have the shot kick from outside 50 to make it a bit harder. Got to tighten up there, Matty Thomas.
Had his issues in front of goal this year, Matthew Pavlich, coming into this game. 3 goals, 9 from his 7 matches, but that's a great start. Fremantle on the board, courtesy of their captain. Brogan stayed down, did well, and then fumbled the ball. Opened the door for Fremantle again. Clearances will be important on a blustery afternoon. Palmer puts his head down.
Sure, if you had a figure in mind, if you're Matt Primus, what would you like the scoreboard to look like at quarter time as a bare minimum?
I think 3 to 4 would be a pretty good job, I think, Jared. I think you see a lot of play come out this side from Port Adelaide on the defensive side of the ground.
So far they've got to win some more ball around these stoppages.
Goes to Johnson, looking to recapture some of his big form. Bradley's been very good this year. He's the energetic and lively Ballantyne. Thought about a handball. Kick around the corner. Port Adelaide with numbers. There's 3 to contend with now. And it's a poor kick. It keeps it alive for Port Adelaide. That's a poor disposal from, I should say, Fremantle.
Yeah, it wasn't Pettigrew's best kick, was it? It should have been out on the boundary line. There were options there.
And in fact, Andrew Moore, the brother of Calvin, with his first possession this afternoon. So a chance for Fremantle. So kicking into the wind, Shuri, what's the instruction from a coaching point of view for Port Adelaide this quarter?
Well, the defensive side, I would think, being down there would be the closest to the camera side. As you can see, with this side that they're playing now would be the defensive side. Waste a bit of time off the clock, I would think, would be one thing also.
O'Shea couldn't take the mark down low.
Like that. Stop plays.
Yeah, they're going to have lots of questions. Robbie Gray, one of their most talented players as a midfielder, often plays up forward through necessity. He's a good goal kicker. But they may just, given this wind, want to get him up and around the ball so they can win some clearances.
Sandilands, another tap. Good work by Broadbent on Fife, and we'll have another bounce.
Daniel Pearce just behind play off this pack. Ryan Crowley's going at him head-to-head, so they're going to try and be physical. And Pearce is already getting involved in that. I think you just got to get away. You can just see him on the left-hand side of the screen there.
Sandilands to Main, to Mundy. Nice build-up. Normally a good finisher. Centering ball towards Bradley. Carry was him. Chaplin did well.
Yeah, it was a centering shot. I reckon if he had his time again, David Mundy, he would have had a shot at goal.
And a lot of football being played inside Port Adelaide's defensive 50. Good kick by Chaplin. Nice delivery to Thomas. Got the job on Pavlich, and he works him the other way. Schultz a clean grab. Need to be patient moving it forward, so he puts a ball up in the air towards Robbie Gray. One out. Good contest with Broughton. We done him in every single possible way. Goes to goal and hits the post.
Well, there's the advantage rule paid exactly. Didn't have to play on then. He had the mark, or the free kick was going to be given his way.
We're at the back door now. Pearce. It's away from Phillips. Got it to Johnson. This is good pressure defensively by Port Adelaide. They force them all the way back now. Duffield to set up. And Palmer to Broughton. Over the boundary line. Grover.
And you can see, Shorey, very much Port Adelaide want to play on this side of the ground because they're going to get their shot with the protection of the grandstand.
And now Fremantle through the corridor. Kick to space. Lower. Has some work to do against Boak. Good tackle by Boak, but he slipped the tackle. Got a handball out. De Boer overruns it. Ballantyne normally good in these situations. Brogan, just a soldier, refused to allow that ball to come out.
And this side of the ground, of course, is the camera side.
Disposals, early stage of the opening term, 26-14. That is Fremantle's way. And the Dockers with a chance. Main important, easy as you like.
Well, again, dominance from stoppages is one thing you would expect when you've got that big bloke just tapping it down. Now, there's only so much that Dean Brogan can do legally, but their main guys around stoppages. We saw Mundy take one away, we saw Pavlich take one away, and now Chris Main getting away from Pettigrew, who's an experienced player, just too easily. Wrong side of the player.
Well, Jared, I agree totally. Michael Pettigrew's got to be better than that. You force your player outside the corridor. If they want to do it, tap the ball towards the goal or the goal line, it's easy to defend. Allow him back in the corridor on the top of the 10-yard square. It's just not good enough.
Nice tap there from Dean Brogan, who took the running and got away with it.
Pearce will thump it towards Gray, half forward. Unkind bounce. He got back. He got rid of it in front of Johnson. He wheels around. It's a high ball off the side of his boot. And that wouldn't have been the distance to O'Shea, the last replacement for Ebert. Desperate for a goal, and there's a whistle.
That was free.
So important, I think, when you're on a side looking for a first win for so long, to give that first handball, Shorey, to honour it. And I reckon Robbie Gray missed an opportunity which cost them a goal.
The last win, Jared, against Adelaide in the showdown, round 4, 32-point win on that occasion. That's been the only time they've saluted. And Fremantle through Palmer, Lower. Second crack at AFL football. Ballantyne's got some space to move. Can think about a bounce. Instead goes for a shot at goal. It's on its way. It's to the near side.
Let's have a look at this. Robbie Gray wins the ball. And then you ask yourself, would you long have given it? Yes, they would have.
No doubt.
There's a goal gone begging. And they are worth 2 goals into the win.
So it's a 2-goal lead to Fremantle. Goals to Pavlich and Main. Pettigrew forced to go with a hurried boot up towards Trengo. It's been one of the real standouts for Port Adelaide in a disappointing year so far. He gets involved again to Boak. Chiseling ball. Gray's the target. He's 2 out, but he worked it well.
Well, he's the forward at the moment.
Schultz is on his bike early. He leads deep and wide.
Robbie Gray's the go-to man. 3 kicks. I agree totally with Trengove. I think he's going to be a player of the future. He can play any end. I reckon he can also have his run in the ruck, which he's done a few times this year.
Yeah, looks a really valuable young man. Excellent in the showdown, their last victory.
Sandilands to Phillips. And there's your first goal to Simon Phillips.
Terrific response there by Port Adelaide. It was Simon Phillips that would have been on the end of the handball, and this is exactly what happened at the other end of the ground, but a nice tap. It was from Aaron Sandilands, so he's winning the tap out, Shorey, but that's why hitting it to advantage is so important.
Well, I think that's the one thing you wouldn't want, would you, Jerry? With having the wind behind you, you just take the ball away from goal. Anytime the opposition ruckman, have a setup, but do it away from goal, not open goal like that.
Simon Phillips, his third game of AFL football. He's played 8 in his career, and spent a couple of years with the Swans and had 10 possessions and a goal last week against his old side, and spent the last 3 years playing for Norwood in the Sandford. Sandilands again. Will be a regular feature this afternoon. Almost free from Broadbent, intercepting it. And away go the Dockers through Crichton. Bouncing ball to Robertson. And the 4 changes for Fremantle towards Westhoff. Good spoil from Ibbotson. Phillips again. Great composure. Darting ball. Good kick is good to Broadbent. He had Corns with a handball option. Instead, he continued to press forward, Kane Corns, and gets rewarded.
Well, that's Stephen Hill's man. I just saw who was manning up on Stephen Hill. It was Kane Corns on the wing at that centre bounce. Now, he has to take control, that Stephen Hill, until he can change over with someone if it's going to be that matchup. But well done to Kane Corns. Push forward on a player who doesn't always do his defensive job.
The last 3 weeks have been fairly solid. 25, 27 and 25 possessions. 3-time best and fairest winner, including 2010. To level it up. 13.5 to play. Nice finish. Rural square.
Well, Matty Primus will be absolutely wrapped with this response. It's come from a bit of hard work and hard running, and Phillips involved in both goals. Sure, he could have been involved in 3.
Yeah, he's a talented young player. I tell you what, he's still building into his body, isn't he, Jerry? There's no doubt he needs a few years in the gym, but again, no doubt Stephen just did not make sure that he manned up then on Stephen Hill. Stephen Hill started on the wing. You've got to do your defensive job.
...172 consecutive games before being dropped for rounds 4 and 5. And the Corns boys have had some challenges this year. And is there a role for Chad still moving forward for Port Adelaide, Jared?
I think there's another game or 2 left in him for this season, but you would think he'd be out of the place next year. The question is, will anyone pick him up? We were discussing that before the game. Maybe not.
Fremantle, the wall was nicely set up at half-back, and the run will come from McFarlane. Heads down the line, kick good to Crowley. Got the job on Daniel Pearce. Kicking a bit from home. Pavlich will go towards the pocket, kick in that direction. Did well to get front position. Nice ball by the smaller man in Thomas.
There you see Pavlich trying to take Thomas forward. It's almost an impossible matchup for Matthew Thomas if they're playing one-on-one and Pavlich is allowed to use his body.
Bit of chopping arms there, Jerry.
Had to be a free kick.
Trengove against Sandilands. Shark by Carlisle.
Nice hands.
Very good. Got it to O'Shea, replacing Ebert in the side. Kick to Phillips. He's been lively. And away they go, Jacobs. He puts it inside 50. It's a foot race, but there are more white jumpers than blue or teal.
That's why in these conditions you have to have a real speedster, almost as your fast break player kicking into the wind.
Johnson works the outer wing to Crichton. He'll chisel the ball. Nice work from Main.
Chizzy are important, these set shots. Visiting team, blustery conditions, everything set up for an upset loss for Fremantle. You just got to take your opportunities.
Well, that speed forward you talk about, there's no doubt Fremantle have got Ballantyne back. He's the man. If you have space behind him and run back into it.
Yep.
So it's blowing over Chris Main's left shoulder to the left of the screen. To break the deadlock. Just under 12 minutes to play this opening term. Indigenous round kick is very good. He made that look so easy. Main's got 2.
Well, just I think I'm looking at Main. He just kicked his goal too easily. Broadbent just centred the ball, got back into the corridor, and they just kept control here. Good to see everybody running forward. That was Michael Johnson who started off in defence, and I think it was Paul Duffield who finished off. So Main's kicked 2 goals, but kicked them too easily. I was Crichton, sorry, kicking inside 50. Might have to look at Pettigrew on that matchup there. He might be just a little bit loose for Main, who hasn't been in great form of late.
16 goals from his 14 games last year, and in 8 games so far, well, 7 and a bit, he's kicked 14 goals.
And a good sign for Fremantle early is both those two players, Matthew Pavlich and Chris Mayne, have been the culprits of their kicking woes. They're off to a good start as far as in front of the sticks.
As is Michael Johnson, Jacko. You said needed to find some form.
He certainly has. He's on Justin Westhoff at this early stage, and he's up around about the 5 possession mark, but he's running up between the lines, which is good for him.
And Crowley ran hard to receive on the outer wing. 6-point lead to the Dockers. Mayne with 2. Clancy Pearce, Swan Districts player, spent the first 5 weeks playing in the Waffle.
It's a real challenge for Dean Brogan. They're throwing Bradley into the ruck, and Bradley took the centre bounce and then went to full forward, which had Dean Brogan as full back.
Plus he's got Michael Johnson from time to time, Jerry, but he
has,
goes into the middle.
I'd like to see him do that a bit more often than he has this year, but it's a great option for them.
Duffield just pinned his ears. Good work by Mundy, all class, but Duffield wasn't up to it, taken high.
Well, Jared, you've got Chaplin sitting behind play. As soon as he happens to do that, Bradley, you just swap that over, don't you?
Duffield will arc around, put a drilling ball deep, and that's easy.
That's too easy.
Head lower with the mark. I should say Nick.
He's got a big body, Nick Lower, and he just used it well. Just held his ground and dropped back nicely.
We should know the idiosyncrasies of this ground. He spent 4 years with Port from 06 to 09 for 20 games. And he had a good sider before with Chris Mayne. Knows how to kick a goal. He kicked a very important one against the Bulldogs a few weeks ago. Poster.
Well, Ben Jacobs, who he'll learn, he's only a youngster, but he'll learn that he has to push back a bit harder into the contest than what happened there. Lower's got a strong body. He's played senior football for a fair while now. He'll come to this dead pocket. Kick this long down the line to Brogan, a one-on-one, I would think.
I'm trying to get Schultz into the game.
Westhoff with the fly. How would you do it, Jerry?
Well, I was just saying they're trying to get him into the game. They've pushed him up onto the centre wing, trying to get him into a contest.
I know you're kicking against the breeze, but I still think you've got to keep a little bit of a forward structure there, Jerry. Maybe at least 2 people in forward half to get an out clause.
Motlop's got a couple of beat. Grover from Ibbotson, eventually to Fife.
Main job here is to avoid Chaplin. Go round Chaplin.
And Fife goes around them all and heads down the line to Robertson.
Good kick.
And a good mark. He protected it from Carlisle.
One of the great traps when you're kicking with such a wind is to blast away, and Fremantle have been really good, still trying to spot up passes and not think the wind's going to do the job.
Robertson spots it to the top of the square.
Well, that was always on. One-on-one.
Good call, Jared.
It's going to be a picnic for Matthew Pavlich and the Dockers if this is the case. The only issue is was there a push in the back? For mine there was, and they're a bit stiff there, Port Adelaide.
Still, even if he didn't mark it, it looks dangerous in already. You've got to make something happen down there when Matty Thomas goes forward.
Kicked the opening goal of the game. He's played the most games for Fremantle. Decorated player, and he's got 2 for the afternoon.
Well, it might have been a hands in the back, and we'll have a look at the replay. But again, even from the contest, this was too easy. Fife, who we know is a really talented player. Kepler Bradley's been involved. But then the penetrating kick also went to the top of the square. And I think that's exactly where you've got to kick it with this breeze. But the body strength, it's going to be an issue. He did use the hands. Technically, yes, it's a free kick, but they're going to have bigger issues if this continues, this matchup.
How long do you persist with it?
Forward, not long.
Best against Port Adelaide, Matthew Pavlich, 5 goals twice, round 22, 2006, and round 1, 2007. 13-point lead to the Dockers. Crichton got a handball from Sandilands, heads out wide to Lower. Wants his left boot. It was a lazy attempt by Chaplin, centering ball, Bradley, Robertson over the top, Carlisle. O'Shea's under a lot of pressure. In fact, Port Adelaide are more to Gray, a long way from the forward 50 for Port Adelaide. They maintain possession, which is important on a blustery day, but they give it straight back.
Now, just watch Troy Chaplin. He followed Nick Lower to that lead out in the wing. He's the player who has to go to Pavlich.
Yep.
And Matty Thomas can then go to Nick Lower if they can turn it over and change it over. If it happens quick, they might struggle.
Well, one of Jacko's key points was backline rebound from Fremantle. They'll look to set it up from the defensive end, and McFarlane kick to no one in particular. Phillips thought about protecting the opponent instead of going for the ball, which eventually Crowley did. Might have been taken high. De Boer. The Dockers again, they're queuing up on the outer side. Johnson's out. And so is Pearce and Fife. He can run. Normally a good user of the ball. It's a drilling ball. Didn't find its target. Jacobs couldn't find it. Main did. Got it to Robertson. Round the corner. And that is a goal.
Just a bit too easy, sure. I reckon their scoreboard says they're doing okay, but from just what your eyes are telling you, it's just too easy when Fremantle get the ball. It's just one over the top, and the level of resistance pretty average.
Well, even when you miss that, Jared, it was a fumble at ground level. And again, it was Benny Jacobs. But, yeah, I agree totally. Still, if they can hang to this with, only a 3-goal lead, it's something we said we can take in 4 goals at the most.
And that is Steve McBurney just having a chat to Hayden Ballantyne, surprisingly.
Yeah, it's always interesting when you hear that intercourse between the player and the umpire. If he does it again, it's a free kick. Well, if he does it again and it's a free kick, it should have been
a free kick beforehand. Yeah,
I understand the logistics of it, etc. If it's line ball, maybe it's fair enough.
It is good to hear the communication, though, isn't it? The game's too quick that it doesn't happen very often.
Gray tried to give a handball. Eventually, Pavlich gets involved with Ibbotson. Out of bounds. Kicked the last 3 goals of the game, Port Adelaide. Main and Pavlich with 2 apiece. Boak takes it upon himself. High ball, Motlop. Can he inject himself? No, he can't. Phillips has certainly done it pretty well in the opening quarter. Wheels around. He was just dragged down as he got boot to ball. Palmer was called to play on. And Fremantle with a lot of composure. Patiently, Ibbotson to McFarlane. And chip it over the top to Crowley. Needs a kind bounce, gets it. Chaplin went the body instead of the tackle. Ballantyne and Crowley again. And they work the half-back flank. Oh, wonderful kick from Ballantyne. Almost got the target. Harlett was there to intercept it. Here's Port's chance. Pittard, Trengove. And back to Trengove. Doesn't have a lot of options, so he dinks it over the top to Broadbent. Can go out wide if he wants and work towards Thomas. Ignores that. Motlop into some space. Beautiful kick. And that's his first touch for the afternoon for Daniel Motlop. You'd rate his chances further away from goal, Jared, than closer.
Not on that side of the ground, though. I reckon it's going to even test him.
What are the chances of a balk to the man on the mark for Daniel Motlop?
Well, I guarantee you he's thought about it.
And Anthony Grover has thought about it too.
He's right behind the mark.
Yep. It's well played by Grover. Understanding your opponent. Motlop will thump it long. Kick's got some carry on it.
That's a lower trajectory than his normal kick, though. You can see he was kicking into the breeze and very smartly kept it under, because just behind that goal, the grandstand does give it a little bit of protection. Just shows they can kick the distance from the outside 50 there, though, so not having as massive an influence as we thought.
Duffield to himself. He's good to Sandilands. 53 hitouts against the Bulldogs. That's his career high. Main's been lively. Crowley will work towards the forward 50. Kick is fabulous. They're just getting them on the spread, Shorey.
Yeah, their rebound from halfback's just too good. And I'm quite amazed that Port haven't dropped a player, or at least 2 players behind. You know that's going to go over the top like that. It's like the old Pagan's paddock in the old time, and you know about that, Swatter.
Yep.
Ryan Crowley, this win nearly right behind his shoulder, just left post back into the centre of the goals.
Coming up for possession number 7. Kick is on its way. Hangs out too far and through for a behind.
Well, they've bitten the bullet. Westhoff off the ground for rest, which is fair enough because he wasn't getting near the footy. And you might as well rest blokes that aren't touching it, Shuri, because at the other end of the ground, you would expect he'll be a target.
Pittard, a risky kick. Sanderlands.
Yeah, it's a horrible kick, just up and under.
And here they go again. McFarlane to Bradley, pushed underneath the ball. Went to ground, was Ballantyne. Lower gets involved, feeds it back to Kepley. Bradley, he can't miss from in front of goal. And he continues his run.
Well, he's one of the best forwards in the game right now, is Kepler Bradley. The stats say it all. And here is a... There you go. You cop that, Hayden.
Well, gee, you've got to be better than that and smarter than that, Hayden Ballantyne. Yeah, you got. We just heard it before, didn't we, Jared? It was amazing. You got the instruction from the umpire. Forceful instruction in the back. It's going to be a free kick at the kick out now, or kick in from the centre bounce.
So a goal to Bradley, and as a result of that, Hayden Ballantyne has just given a free kick away in the middle of the ground. And he's having a terrific year, is Kepler Bradley in front of goals. 16 goals, 6 coming into the game, and that's 17 now. It was a poorly directed kick with not a lot of thought.
And no 50. Must have thought about it, the umpire, but up and under Shuri are a horrible kick into the wind.
Ballantyne needs to make amends. Bradley will work hard for him. Good work by Carlisle. Ground level ball, Pearce and Pearce. Pavlich got rid of Thomas again. And Lower continued to work forward of the ball. Sanderlands has drifted forward. Had a piece of it, the big man for Fremantle. His opposing ruckman was broken. Acrobatic effort from Bradley. Crowley can keep it alive. What can Hill do? He's got some magic about him. Lowers his vision, spots up a target at half forward. Diving effort by Lower. Desperate stuff by Chaplin, and Port Adelaide can run.
Stephen Hill's first touch, which is not a problem at the moment because his main value is going to be running the ball into the wind.
And what can Pearce do?
Like this bloke.
Have a bounce to Broadbent, make it back. No, inboard. Handball was a tough one for Moore. Did well. Corns has got to be quick, and he realised the situation. Schultz needs to get involved. Bouncing ball. Gray, Motlop gets rid of them all. And standing up for Fremantle. And eventually, Crowley. Kick was good from Ibbotson. 2.5 to play this opening term.
Just that last inside 50 for Fremantle, Aaron Sanderland just found himself with a mismatch, boys. He's just got to get better in his game if he's going to be an all-round player. He's only kicked the 1 goal this year, and they're trying to get him to go forward and kick a few more goals this year. Should have swallowed that last contest.
Jacko, when you find he goes forward and he finds a match, you found the tallest backman in the world.
Well, not yet. Not yet at all.
Crowley coming up for possession number 10. Ball bent for Port Adelaide. He's leading their charge with 9. Ian Brogan, not quite sure what that was for, but picked up the audio mics and the umpire. Risky ball, middle of the ground. O'Shea did well. Phillips was even good, even better. And he lost possession in the back. Free kick will go Fremantle's way on Duffield.
Boys, Matthew Pavlich has just come off. He's in the hands of the trainers. They've taken his boot off and his socks and restrapping his ankle.
Thanks, Jacko. Duffield to McFarlane, who's had a bit of it too with 8 possessions.
It's a tough one into the wind, the 50. It's really dangerous because now it's a shot at goal. So a shoot from 53 out.
Jackson
And you'd reckon
Tringo.
he'd travel the distance.
So this is their best first quarter of the year. Their previous best, 5-6 against North Melbourne, round 4. 6-3, possibly 7. Kicking with the win, Luke McFarlane. Give it a good ride. But wide. Chaplin. Can't afford another goal, Port Adelaide.
It's a poor kick by Luke McFarlane. He would have been better off put to the top of the square and giving the Rovers something to come to, boys.
Boat to Corns.
Just trying to kill time here, Port.
Chisel a ball which wasn't good, intended for Schultz. Westhoff needs to get busy. Brogan. Palmer's been pretty impressive in the opening term, Shorey.
Oh, he has. And I'll tell you what's happened. Their foot skills, Port Adelaide, they're trying to keep control of the ball. And that's what you do into the breeze, but they just haven't got the foot skills. The turnovers have been very costly in the forward half for Fremantle.
And they've done a pretty good job in isolating or stopping a couple of their key players as Fife takes a great hanger. But Hill has only had one kick. Mundy's only had one kick. A couple of handballs as well, but hasn't dominated. So in effect, they've knocked out a couple of their key players, but the scoreboard suggests that the Dockers have had a pretty fair quarter.
Pick number 20 in the 09 National Draft. He's having a great start to his second season, averaging 27 possessions, and he's got his first goal for the afternoon on the siren. Quarter time here at Amy Stadium. Best opening term for Fremantle this year. And they lead 7-3, 45 to Port Adelaide on an overcast condition day, 2-2, 14. Back with more after this.